Carly and Nelson would be a group that I would recommend to any superintendent throughout the state, and their leadership and the things that they do. They've provided an amazing service for us, and I would recommend anybody to talk to them. Robert Scott, I'm superintendent here for Burlington Schools, and behind us is just a finished $43 million project that was done to renovate our high school, and it's just been an amazing 3-year process, and we're super excited. You think about it on HGTV where they entirely got the entire house. That's what we did here. We took the frame of the house, the frame of the school building, we took everything out of the inside and built it as if it's brand new. So was a 7-phase project. And so we would do sections of the school building, and it would totally be, all the walls would come down, every ceilings, floors, everything happened, lighting, and rebuilt it. And our teachers did an amazing job of working with us as they moved their classrooms around, and just built it from the ground floor up. And because of the collaboration with the architects and the project managers, we were able to actually do more throughout the project that we'd even planned to do, so which allowed us to get in and do the gymnasium floor and also the cafeteria and updating of that. So the kids are really dealing with, when they walk through the door, a brand new facility inside. People come in and they're just amazed. Wow, I hear that all the time, because they just can't believe that it can look that much different when they do. Because on the outside, you see the same walls. The windows were upgraded, but they don't. Not everybody notices that kind of stuff. And with a few flags and some lights on the outside, but inside, the transformation has just been amazing. It's great that you bring up Tim and Will, because coming in and not knowing anybody and having to create that trust. They created a lot of trust with me right away, because I know that if I said something to them, I was going to get an answer. It could have been a yes or a no, or here's what we can do, but it was very timely, very reactive, and I built that trust really quickly with those two, and which made my job easier, because I knew if we talked about something in a meeting, it was going to be followed up on. And so as far as the project and the groundwork, yeah, our district and the company did an amazing job of laying a great foundation out there so that I could come in. Did I do a couple tweaks, a couple of questions that I've had from all the other projects I've been through over in the past? I did some small things, but they were small things because 98% of it was laid out really well done between everybody. And so the scope of it could have been just some finishings or some small adjustments. But yeah, I want to revisit that Tim and Will leadership was amazing. And I couldn't have asked for anything better for to lead our project here with us. It's amazing for the amount of, when you talk about a high school and the square footage, and the high school doesn't really shut down in the summer. There are so many things going on. So it was a lot of planning to make it happen. A lot of schools, when they do some things like this, they'll build a new school and they'll just live in the old school, or they'll build an addition and it doesn't impact the learning here. It was very much intense planning by Tim and Will to make sure that the instructional learning of our students and our staff wasn't impacted. And so I give a lot of credit to them. But as far as our teachers have to get a lot of credit too, because there was a lot of moving desks, and you teach in this room and then in the afternoon you're teaching over here, so that we could have this. A freshman walking in our building right now just says, oh, I have one of the best looking high schools in the state. They don't know what everything that happened. The seniors have a real appreciation of like seeing the phase, because they came in as freshmen and saw the old building and watched each phase of it just improve. And so they have a real sense of pride about, wow, this is just, the transformation is unbelievable. Just that trust factor that I talked about is key, and having that relationship, because you can say, this is what I want, and I know I'm going to get back that product, and feeling that in every aspect. And there are so many pieces that come to putting together a $43 million facility, or the $9 million one that we're going to be adding over around at Aldo for the Performing Arts Center. You've got to have trust, and you've got to know that you say, this is what my expectation is and what it's going to look like, so you're comfortable, because I can't be doing the construction job, right? I've got to be able to lead the district, but I got to have trust that when I say something, it's going to be complete. And I've been just overwhelmed by the leadership of Carly and Olson. Yeah, I think the freedom's a good one too. They have been open to any and all suggestions I've ever had, right? And we may not have finished all of my ideas or like went with them, but they were open to say, well, we could do this, and here's the aspect of that compared to this other product. So yeah, I feel a lot of freedom And as far as completing the project and the trust, and we've been extremely excited here at Burlington for the product. I know the board is extremely happy with the leadership that we've received. And yeah, we definitely have felt that. And yeah, I'm glad you said freedom, because I did feel they were always open and to listening to different aspects and different ideas, even when the project was almost like, well, we're going to do it this way. And there were a couple times made small changes, and then they were able to show me like, well, you could do this, but here's the reason we designed it this way, and why we think you should execute it this way. And I was like, oh, that makes total sense. And then we followed their advice. I would think people would expect that this costs much more than $43 million because of what the value is, as far as when you look around, you see such a top quality finishes, product, and just the ownership that everything was done to the detail that it was. I think construction management is a really big factor. I'm a big proponent because I believe that that expertise helps you get exactly what you're talking about, the value for your dollar. And the expertise, no different than I have a curriculum director who leads my curriculum department because of his expertise, and he knows exactly that. This is exactly what you need. You need that type of leadership who knows what's new and innovative in going on, and has experience with multiple products that can bring the value to our district. A construction manager that can do that type of work for us and to lead that and make sure that he's demanding, excellence is what we were looking for, and that's what we got with Carlisle Nelson, right? We got someone who can provide excellence in product, and for people that are coming through our building, an expectation of how they should act when they're on our property and what we expect to receive. And that's the leadership they have, which allows me then to do my job, to be the academic instruction, leader of the district. And so that's one of the key values that they brought to the table. Yeah, I would definitely, if I was reached out by other superintendents, and we talk about all kinds of things throughout the state. I have Urban Education Network, or actually my Southeast Iowa superintendents. We share information all the time about companies or products or things that we use. Carlisle and Nelson would be a group that I would recommend to any superintendent throughout the state, and their leadership and the things that they do. They've provided an amazing service for us, and I would recommend anybody to talk to them and provide that same type of opportunity to make their jobs easier as superintendent, because they can focus on the things they need to focus on, because I'm confident in recommending them that their leadership would provide them a service that will allow them to continue to be superintendent while their project was being completed. Again, those type of guys that are putting in the hours on site and the late hours on site, and what a commitment to both of them. The same thing, they would say, Rob, we'll get that done tomorrow, right? Yep, that'll get fixed. And when I would come back, it would be done, right? So it was never something I had to remind them a second time or a third time. Their effort level and just their overall professionalism just at work all the time. Even if you had somebody who was complaining about, or they caught a teacher, or somebody might have caught them in the hallway, and they're just so professional about how they talk and interact with our staff, is something, comments that I receive back from a lot of our staff members. What I would say is that we are very happy with Carlisle Nelson because of, like, we do our research too. We visit Washington, to the auditorium that was built there, and we spent a lot of time looking at products. We look at other facilities they've done. We also look at Bray Associates when we did that, right? We looked at what buildings and they've done these places. So we do our research too. And everything that the school district and the school board would have heard was outstanding reviews. Outstanding reviews, whether they were here in Burlington or they were somewhere else, about the timeliness and the effort level, and that they could just depend on their actions. And so that's why it made them very comfortable for us to move forward with what we're doing.